Guided practice for triangle mid-segments. The first one we're looking at is segment NM. What segment is segment NM parallel to? XY. So what are we going to do with that 10.2? We're going to divide by 2, and that gets us 5.1. Then we're looking at segment XZ, and what segment is segment XZ parallel with? LM. And what are we going to do with that 5.6? Multiply by 2, and that gives us 11.2 for the whole length of XZ. And then we're looking for the length of NZ, and it is parallel with LM. So what's the length of NZ? And it is 5.6, because they're the same. Mid-segment equals half of the side length. Next up, we're looking for angle LMN. And we know that we're looking at LM and XC being the lines that are parallel. So what kind of angle pair do we have here? Alternate interior angles. What does this angle measure? 29 degrees. Then we're looking at angle YXZ, so that is this angle. And we're looking at XY being parallel to NM, and our transversal is XZ. So what kind of angle pair do we have here? Corresponding angles. And what do we know about corresponding angles? They are congruent, so it's also 29 degrees. And then we are looking at angle XLM. And you can look at these two lines being parallel, and this one being your transversal. What do we know about those two angles? They're same side interior angles. And how would we find what the measure of angle XLM equals? Subtract 29 from 180. And we get 151 degrees. Next up, in this A-frame house, the width of the first floor, XZ, is 30 feet. Okay, so we know the bottom from X to Z is 30 feet. The second floor, CD, is slightly above and parallel to the mid-segment. That means that the mid-segment is below CD. Is the width of the second floor more or less than 5 yards? Okay, so we have feet right now. How many feet are in 1 yard? 3 feet are in 1 yard. So we need it to divide 30 by 3, and that gets us 10 yards. So our base is also equal to 10 yards. And how do we find the length of our midsegment? We take and divide 10 by 2, which gets us 5. So we know our midsegment is 5 yards. So is the second floor, CD, more or less than 5 yards? Remember, that is above it, and it's good at getting smaller, so it is less than 5 yards. Next up, we have midsegment again, and we're looking for in. So what do we know about the midsegment compared to the side? 2 times that midsegment equals our side length. So 2 times 9.5 equals 2n minus 23. And 19 equals 2n minus 23. Add 23 to both sides. And 42 equals 2n. Divide by 2. And n equals 21. Next up, again, we have a midsegment, and remember 2 times your midsegment. Remember that this is our midsegment equals our side length. So 2 times n plus 8 equals 24. Now we can divide by this 2, or we can distribute it. Either way works. I'm going to divide because it's less work to me. So we get n plus 8 equals 12. Subtract 8 from both sides, and n equals 4.